Hey everyone, it's Natalia, and I love making nails for my friends. And as a K-pop Christmas fan, one song sort of haunts us. That's right, today I'm going to be making my friend some EXO First Snow themed nails. Let's go. So today, this is my idea. I wanted to sort of theme it after these absolutely ridiculous costumes that they had for this, and also sort of like drawing in the snow. So my idea is I'm going to be using like a white texture gel to mimic snow with like a glitter base underneath it. I have this random thing that I don't remember why I have or bought. And then on the other nails, I'm going to be doing the green with the red suspenders and a bow, and then some like snow drips to tie it all together. And look... God, they dress them like losers. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. Hopefully this turns out. We'll see how it goes. So let's, I'm going to be using the Show Me Korea gel here for the base. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm thinking of putting some mittens in a hat. Sort of tie the colors together. So yeah, let's go. So to make this, we're going to be using a few things here. Let me pull it over. We're using first the soft gel medium oval nails. I really like them. I think they're a nice length. I wear them often. Picking some cat hair off there as per usual. So we're going to be doing that. Yeah, those are those. We're going to be using this gypsum gel, I think they called it. It's like a white gritty texture gel. I have no idea why I bought it, but I've had it forever. I don't even remember where it came from, but I assume AliExpress. But we're going to be using that. I have some CJ red and some Born Pretty glitter red, which I could not find. I've had them for so long. I don't even know when I bought them. Maybe some black if we need it, but probably not. I'm going to be using the Show Me Korea QS01 that I recently got, and the Rosy Hip Gemstone Collection green, so the number 5. And then I'm going to be using some 3D gel and this bow mold here. So I'm going to be using like a dark red mold gel here. So that's basically what we're going to get up to. So let's go. Let's go make some nails. So first we gotta prep all the nails, and same every time. So first you gotta file the little nub at the top. So that because there's always like a little nub from where they connect to the mold when they're making them. I'm just gonna file that off, round off the top. And next we're just going to buff the nails to remove any shine and get them prepped. And as these are soft gel nails, we don't actually need a base coat for these. So we're just going to go straight in with the base color after this, but you got to buff all the shine off to help the gel adhere to the nail. And once you've got these all nice and buffed and looking matte, just give them a wipe with some isopropyl alcohol. And we are ready to start painting some nails. But first, always wear gloves when you're doing gel nails. You don't want to get an allergy. So we're going to start off with the base colors. So on 2 of the nails, we're going to be using the Rosy Hip green. And on the rest, we're going to be doing a base with this beautiful bluish silver glitter from the Que Sera Sera collection that I reviewed last week. It's great. We'll do the first layer on all of those. It really doesn't show on camera like how pretty this glitter is. It is so nice. Next, we're going to do the index and the pinky in the green. With this one, it is a magnetic gel, but we're not going to magnetize the first layer. We're going to do a second layer and we'll magnetize that one. If you're, remaking this, which feel free, and you don't have to use magnetic gel. I'm just addicted to magnetic gel, so I try to use it probably anytime I can get away with it. So you're just going to put a nice coat of the green on those. And we're going to send her in for a full cure. And into the lamp it goes. So we're going to do a second coat with the exact same colors. So with the silver and the green. And when we get to the green, we're gonna like magnetize it this time. It doesn't have to be just magnetize it. However, I like doing sort of the velvet look where you try to center it towards the center, which you just do by waving a strong magnet on either side of it. Now, this green wasn't like the green I initially envisioned, but the other greens that I had just weren't really Christmassy, So I decided on this one as, if I can't get the right Christmassy, I'm going to make it magnetic. That was my logic on this. So I'm giving it a flash cure after you magnetize it so that it'll hold the magnets in place while you finish the rest of the nails. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the pinky. The Rosy Hip collection magnetizes so nicely. And then flash cure into place when you're happy with the look. And then you're going to stick it in for another full cure. Okay, so we're starting on the green nails first, and I'm going to be doing these bows. So I picked two that matched. I did actually like the look of this one up here a little bit more, but there wasn't a coordinating one that was exactly the same in larger or smaller. So I picked two that I could do two sizes of. Originally, I did think about hand making some bows for this with 3D gel, but I've been so sick lately and I just wanted to make my friend some Christmas nails, and she's a huge EXO fan like myself. So I just, I decided to lazy out with a 3D mold, and that's what they're for, right? They make beautiful shapes. I'm using this 3D gel. I'm doing it in 2 layers to make sure it's cured. Make sure to cure between each layer, and you can always flip it over to make sure that there aren't any air bubbles. And then when you are done filling the mold, make sure to fully cure it on both sides. So cure it twice. Now I wanted to kind of try to match this gel I used. And so I'm mixing up some red, this yogurt gel that's a dark, a burgundy red, and then a little bit of this navy, dark navy blue from yogurt. And that did, it was the right tone, but it was just too dark. And so I was okay, I need to add a bit more red to bring it up to sort of, it's the red that I used for the molds was a very, dark fuchsia red, if that makes any sense. And so I'm mixing back in some red and just fitzing around until I get the red that I am looking for. That's, pretty close to the 3D mold gel that I used, because I wanted it to mostly match. And so I ended up taking some of this that was a little bit too dark and just mixing it into the red. And that was pretty perfect, to be honest. And then we're going to be doing the suspender straps now. So I'm just pulling 2 parallel lines down the length of the nail. God, they really did make EXO just wear absolutely hilarious outfits. The little red hat. Oh my goodness. They don't do that anymore. They don't make them wear super dumb outfits. Though, you know what? To be honest, in like, I don't know, 20 years, we might look back at like the K-pop groups debuting now and be like, wow, those are some really questionable outfits that they got these poor people in, huh? But yeah, they really did make EXO just history of ridiculous outfits. So we're doing the same on the pinky nail to mimic the suspenders. Try to be as straight as you can, but listen, I'm not perfect. And then when you've got the 2 lines, you're going to send it in yet again for another full cure. So now I'm pulling out this glitter that I've had forever. I love this glitter. I wish I could find like a more, like a more reputable brand of it, but I can't even find this anymore. So it's a dwindling in numbers, but I'm going to go over the red with it. It adds like this beautiful, like dark red glitter over it that it's just stunning, but use whatever glitter that matches, or, like a magnetic gel would also look really nice here. But I really like this glitter, so that's what we're going with. And we're going to cover up the 2 suspender lines here. And then you're going to do that on both and cure. So now we've got the 3D bows. I'm taking them out and make sure there's no little hang-ons. You can file off any sort of little hangy-onies that they have. Just file off any sort of like things. And now we're going in with this 3D gypsum texture gel. It's got like a weird grit to it, but it does work very well to be snow. So I'm going in with the liner brush and I'm going to be making like a sort of drippy snow look around the cuticles. This is to sort of tie it in with the rest of the nails. Otherwise, they kind of look like they're just 2 separate sets that are being worn at the same time. So I like to have sort of a unifying vibe through the nails. Now, keep in mind, you can do this with just like regular white gel. It might be more difficult on the snow nails, but if you are someone who does not like feeling texture on your nails, this set with the 3D nuance gel might not be the play, So fully cure that, and then I'm going in with my rhinestone gel, as I finally bought some rhinestone gel, and we're going to be sticking these bows on. So what I do is I just sort of dip it in, and then let it pool off, and then I stick it on the nail here. And sort of move it into the correct place. Make sure it looks good. And if there's any sort of globs, I take a liner brush and sort of smooth out any globs that are appearing of the gel. And then I want to flash cure it into place while I stick it on the other one on the other nail. I did originally envision this with like 2 little bows, but I like it with the 1 bow. I think it's cute. We're gonna smooth it in, give it a little flash cure, and then you're going to stick it in for a full cure. So finally, we're going to take the glitter gel, and we're going to match the bow to the red suspender lines. You don't need to like fully cover it. I'm just sort of adding it in places where it looks nice. You can, use your judgment. Just like adding a little bit of spark. I like things that sparkle, Again, if you wanted to use like a magnetic gel, that would work really well for this too. Just like a thin layer and magnetize it to give it that little bit more visual interest, or you can just leave it plain. You do you. Once you got those, stick it under for a full cure. And we're going to move on to the snow nails. So I'm taking the gel again, the thick gel, and I'm going to be covering the entire nail with it. And once you've got the nail covered, I sort of like swirled it a little bit to add sort of like make it look like, you know, snowdrift type situation. And then I'm taking a dotting tool or a toothpick or whatever, and I am carving out the shape, the little heart shape into the gel. This is sort of to mimic, you know, like when you draw something in snow. So you've got that. I'm doing a heart on this one. Take your time with it. This gel that I'm using right here, it is very stiff and does not self-level. You really got to use one that doesn't self-level for this. We're now doing the ring finger, which will be the same sort of heart shape carved into it. We're going to carve the other little heart in there, looking very cute. So the glitter underneath shows through the heart and also on the underside when you flip your nails over, but that was my intention here. So finally, on the middle finger, we're going to do the same, but instead of the heart, I'm putting in one of the EXO logos. There's like 5 million EXO logos. If you know, you know. But I'm doing the easiest one to draw, which is the sort of a diamond with 3 lines coming off it. So I'm starting on the diamond because I want the point of the diamond to be centered. Pulling that off. And then we're going to do 1 line coming out from the center. And then 2 coming diagonally off the same point. And that's the easiest EXO logo to draw. So next I wanted to put 2 little like footprints as though 2 people are standing on either side of this. I'm not sure if this really turned out well, but I realized that my dotting tool here was a little bit too big. So I switched to a micro Q-tip soon, but I think a toothpick would have been, or like the edge of a cuticle pusher, something that comes to like a real point would have been easier for this. So I'm just doing 2 little ovals with 2 little circles beneath them. Sort of make, like little shoe prints. I'm putting 2 on the bottom side and then 2 above. So it's like 2 people facing each other. And then once you're done carving out all of these shapes on the gel, you want to stick it in for another full cure. Since this gel is thick, I did cure it twice, just to be safe. I put in for a double cure. Okay, we got the little footprints in there, looking cute. All right, now stick that into cure. I realized there was like a lot of bumps off the edges, so I'm just taking a file and sort of filing it down so it's slightly less textured. Because this one does tend to get like little sharp edges, so I just wanted it to be a little bit less textured. So I'm doing that with a little 100 grit file, and now I am just wiping it off, any dust off with some alcohol. And here's where, listen, I want to share the true experience that I go through making these nails. I decided now was the time I was going to use that same red gel, and I was going to put in the little mittens and the little hat that I had done in my, my little image I made. So I'm flash curing between each one so I don't mess it up. Making tiny little mitten shapes out of the red. And then I'm gonna make a little like yarn connecting them. Like those little that you have for kids where the yarn connects the 2 mittens. I was like, yeah, this is the move, putting these little mittens and things here. So I, flash cured into place. I'm making a little hat. I'm adding in some like green accents, putting the little pom-pom on the hat, curing it with my little pin cure light into place. Then I took the book and looked at it. It was at this moment that I realized that it looked awful, just absolutely terrible, and I needed to remove it immediately. So I'm using my e-file here. Wear a mask while doing e-filing, and I'm just filing that off because it looked terrible. So I decided we don't need it. We don't need it. So I'm just going to put a new little layer of the texture gel over where I filed, and we're just going to pretend that it never happened. We're good. It's gone. I'm happy with just how it looks with just a little carving. Perfect. We're going to stick that into cure like it never happened. And finally, we're just going to top coat these nails. So I'm using the Jim B Crazy Top Standard, which is my usual use here. This will help to, like, for some of the more textured parts, since it is like a bit of a thicker top gel, it will smooth them out a little bit. But these nails, you still do feel the texture. So if you are someone who can't handle texture stuff, these aren't for you. But I know that my girl, Lucy, that I made these for, who fellow XOL like myself, she doesn't mind. She likes crazy stuff on her nails. So I thought that these would do very nicely for her. Also, EXO is apparently coming back, so that's exciting. But yeah, so we are going to be top coating all these, paying special attention to make sure there's no gaps or anything around where these are connected so they don't get stuck in people's hair and everything. And then send it in for a full cure. And those are the nails. Yeah, I thought that this technique was really cute if you have like a really good like non-moving nuance gel. I'm going to try again. I'm going to look for something similar in like a more high quality gel, but I think that these turned out really cute, and I think they really do capture the First Snow vibe of that particular song. Yeah, so I think they're really cute little Christmas nails. So anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, all that nonsense, and I'll be back next time with another nail video. Bye.